The airport was a blur of chatter, suitcase wheels, and fluorescent lights. After 12 hours in the air, Maya Chen moved through it all like a ghost, hungry, exhausted, and running on autopilot. She had only one goal: grab her bag, get home, and collapse. At the baggage carousel, a sea of near-identical black suitcases revolved like tired planets. Maya squinted through the crowd, rubbing her eyes. When she finally spotted hers, or what she thought was hers, she didn't hesitate. It had the same silver trim, the same scuffed corner from her trip to Bali. Perfect. She heaved it off the belt with a grunt, nearly losing her balance as the handle jerked free. All around her, families reunited, kids squealed, and tired travelers scrolled through their phones. Maya barely noticed. She just wanted out. Outside, the night air was damp, laced with the smell of rain and jet fuel. Her cab arrived just as fat droplets began to fall. She climbed in, tossed the suitcase beside her, and gave her address in a sleepy mumble. As the taxi pulled away from the curb, back inside the terminal, a man in a crisp navy suit stepped to the carousel. He looked calm, too calm for someone who'd just endured a 10-hour board meeting in Tokyo, followed by a flight delay. His eyes scanned the belt once, twice, then narrowed. The last suitcase clunked onto the metal lip and kept circling. Not his. "Excuse me," he said to an attendant, his tone polite but edged with authority. "My bag isn't here. Black Samsonite, monogram tag, ED." The attendant checked her clipboard, then frowned apologetically. "It might have been taken by mistake, sir." Ethan Drake, CEO of Drake Innovations, exhaled slowly, his jaw tightening. Of all the days for a mix-up, this one couldn't have been worse. Inside that suitcase were sensitive documents for a deal that couldn't afford to go wrong. He straightened his cufflinks, mask of composure slipping into place. "Find it," he said, then turned toward the exit, unaware that the person who had it was halfway across the city, already dozing off in the back of a taxi. Maya woke to the soft hum of rain against her window and the smell of stale airplane air still clinging to her clothes. Her head ached from jet lag, but the promise of coffee got her out of bed. She shuffled into the kitchen, poured a cup, and dragged the sleek black suitcase closer. She hesitated a moment before unzipping it. Her trip had been long, and she didn't even remember how she'd packed. But as soon as she opened the case, her stomach dropped. Inside, instead of the colorful blouses, travel souvenirs, and a half-eaten pack of biscuits she expected, there were men's clothes, neatly folded, impossibly crisp. Dark suits, silk ties, leather belts that smelled faintly of cologne and money. "What the?" she whispered, crouching down. She rummaged deeper. No toiletries, no makeup bag, not even a stray sock. Just an expensive-looking laptop, a monogrammed silver pen, and a thick folder embossed with the word confidential. Maya blinked. She wasn't the type to snoop, but curiosity won. She flipped the folder open. Diagrams, financial reports, and pages stamped with Drake Innovations. Her gaze landed on a name printed at the top of the first document, Ethan Drake, Chief Executive Officer. Her jaw fell open. She had taken a CEO's bag. Her mind raced. She pictured airport police knocking on her door, or worse, some stern executive demanding an explanation on live TV. She scrambled for her phone, intent on calling the airline when the screen lit up with an unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. "Hello? Maya Chen?" The voice on the other end was smooth, controlled, but tight with irritation. "Yes? This is Ethan Drake. I believe you have my luggage." She froze. The man from the magazine cover, the one who'd been dubbed the reluctant visionary, was talking to her. Her. "Oh my God, I am so sorry," she blurted, words tumbling out in panic. I didn't, it looks exactly like mine, and I didn't even—" There was a short pause, then a sigh. "I figured as much," Ethan said evenly. "I had your number from the airline records. I need that case returned as soon as possible." "Of course. I can bring it to the airport right now." "No need. I'm downtown. There's a cafe on 7th and Larkin." 30 minutes? 30 minutes, she repeated automatically, heart hammering. When the line clicked off, Maya stared at the phone in disbelief. She looked back at the suitcase, the one that, by sheer exhaustion and bad luck, had dragged her into the orbit of one of the most powerful men in the city. She groaned and took a long sip of her coffee. "You really outdid yourself this time, Maya," she muttered. "Next time, maybe just double-check the luggage tag." The cafe was tucked into a quiet corner of downtown, its wide windows fogged from the steady drizzle outside. Maya stood beneath the awning, clutching the black suitcase like it was evidence in a crime. Every passing minute made her heart beat faster. She'd changed twice, tried to look casual but respectable, finally settling on jeans, a soft gray sweater, and a nervous smile that wouldn't leave her face. When Ethan Drake entered, it was impossible not to notice him. Even through the hum of conversation and clinking cups, he commanded attention. Tall, sharp-featured, confident, stitched into every movement. The barista's hand slowed mid-pour as he scanned the room, spotted Maya, and approached. She straightened instinctively. "Mr. Drake?" He nodded once. "Miss Chen." His tone was polite, but his eyes carried the calm intensity of someone used to making things happen on his terms. "You've saved me a tremendous amount of trouble." Maya pushed the suitcase toward him. "I swear I didn't mean to take it. Mine looks exactly the same. I only realized this morning when I saw the suits and the, confidential documents." That earned the faintest flicker of amusement in his expression. "You didn't read them, I hope." "Of course not. I mean, not really, just enough to realize I shouldn't be reading them." She winced. "Sorry." Ethan exhaled through his nose, almost a laugh. "I believe you. Besides, I got lucky. Most people wouldn't have called back so quickly." He set the suitcase beside his chair, signaling to the barista. "Coffee?" Maya hesitated. "You don't have to." "I insist," he said smoothly. "It's the least I can do before running back into crisis mode." They sat by the window. Rain streaked the glass, city lights blurring into soft gold. Ethan leaned back, his phone buzzing intermittently on the table, but he didn't reach for it. "So, Maya," he said after a sip, "what do you do when you're not accidentally stealing CEO's luggage?" She laughed despite herself, the tension in her shoulders easing. "I'm a freelance designer. Mostly branding and digital art. Nothing glamorous." "Creative," he said, studying her. "That explains the panic. People who build things tend to care too much when they mess up." Maya tilted her head. "And people who run billion-dollar companies?" He smiled, a real one this time, faint but warm. "We just learn to hide it better." For a moment, silence settled comfortably between them. Outside, the rain had softened to a drizzle, and the streetlights painted soft reflections across the wet pavement. Ethan stood, rolling the suitcase handle up. "Thank you again, Miss Chen, I mean it. That file could have cost us a deal if it landed in the wrong hands." "Glad I could save the day," she said with a grin, "even if it was by mistake." He paused, considering her. "You did more than most would. And since you seem to have good instincts..." He slipped a card from his pocket, placing it on the table. "Maybe you could help redesign our next product launch campaign." Maya blinked, caught off guard. "Are you serious?" "I don't waste time on jokes," he said lightly. "Think about it." With that, he turned and left, disappearing into the drizzle, his car waiting at the curb. Maya stared after him, his business card warm in her hand, her reflection faint in the cafe window. What started as a sleepless mistake at the airport had turned, somehow, into the beginning of something unexpected, a door she hadn't known was waiting to open. 3 weeks later, the same airport hummed with the same chaos, announcements echoing through the speakers, rolling suitcases rattling against tiled floors, travelers weaving through the noise like clockwork. But this time, Maya Chen wasn't exhausted, lost, or rushing. She stood in line at the business class gate, a brand new passport case in hand and a badge clipped to her jacket that read, "Creative Consultant, Drake Innovations." It had all happened faster than she could process. After their cafe meeting, Ethan Drake had called her 2 days later. What started as a small freelance project had spiraled into late-night brainstorming sessions, brand sketches across napkins, and phone calls that lasted far longer than business required. The company loved her concepts. Ethan did too, though in a different way, one neither of them quite knew how to define yet. The last time she left this airport, she'd been tired and lost. This time, she was flying toward a future she hadn't even known was waiting. And somewhere between luggage and luck, she'd found it.